go. Weather bell. All right. Celine, you are so fast. It's actually impressive, I have to say. It's nothing but impressive. Charles, you too. It's going good. It's going to be another quick stream today. I'm being squeezed for time in my life right now. Being squeezed. Like I'm getting juiced. Like I'm an orange getting juiced. Absolutely squeezed for time. If only they were like 20... I think I could deal with 27 hours in a day. 24 is just not quite enough. If there were 27 hours in a day, I'd have 2 extra hours to stream, and I'd get an extra hour of sleep. That'd be nice. What's up, Virginia here? Look at that. Brittany is in the house. It's not showing full names for some reason in my TikTok chat anymore. When I pull it out, it's just showing the first letter, and it's annoying me. I don't know why. I gotta fix that setting. What's going on, Brittany? Yeah, I haven't been able to do any sub-only lives either. Probably gonna be a busy week for me this week too. Ma'am. Yeah, only one could dream, yeah. I just need a few more hours a day. Perfect world, I would stream 3 hours a day. I like doing it. I like streaming. So some interesting updates. We're going to be in a little bit of a lull here. Terrible time for my channel. It's a terrible time to be someone in the weather world, the meteorologist, weather enthusiast, content creator, because it's going to be a little boring here. Maybe some clippers moving through up there, but pretty boring. Look at this. Look at this dryness. But come the end of the first week of March, second week, we're seeing some interesting things on the radar here, on our on our future radar. Maybe a good system up into the northern plains. Very cold air plunging back down into the east. A potential nor'easter right there. I mean, another potential snowstorm through the Midwest. So there's definitely stuff in our outlook. There's our jet wants to drop drastically as we approach the end of the first week of March and really crank up the severe weather threat and winter storm threat. But we're going to have a little bit of a lull here. We'll have some weather to end off February, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty dry until we get around March 4th and 5th. We've got maybe 1, 2, 3. You start seeing storms that want to line up. But, see the latest our 18Z Euro at the end here. Yes, still seeing this jet kind of diving, keeping that cold air up here in the north. Are we going to get anything around northern Arkansas in March? The GFS thinks so. So there's models that again like to see this jet dive down. Like to see some cold air returning to the south. We'll see how far some of this stuff gets. We have our Canadian 12Z. Seeing this plunge of cold air again right here. That's the end of the run, but you can see what's happening here. We've got a system off the coast. We've got a system moving through the Midwest, and we have some cold air diving. Again, it agrees with what the GFS sees around this exact time frame, the 4th and the 5th of March. If we were to push into the GFS, we'll take a look at our updated teleconnections here in a second. Pivotal weathers. Take a second to load. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Does anyone in here watch White Lotus? I love that show. Episode 2 came out tonight. Such a good show. What's going on, Abby? Justin, Jack, Leanne, what's poppin'? Tanner, what's going on? Hope your night is going well. It is going well. It's going to be another short stream. I was just saying, I'm just absolutely squeezed for time. It sucks. I want to be streaming 2 to 3 hours a night, I promise you. I like doing this. Early morning. I got to be in the office at like 7 a.m. I have about an hour and a half drive to the office. I go to the office 4 days a week. So, what I want to get on here. I try to get on here every night I can. But, the only good thing is nothing crazy is going on in our immediate future weather-wise. We do see some craziness potentially as we get into the 4th of March through the entire second week of March. I'm going to start answering questions, but let's get into this. We have some model agreement on basically this. We're going to move into Monday to Wednesday is going to be kind of a warm-up for much of the country. We can see what's going on with our temperature anomalies. Pretty good warm-up, zonal flow. We're going to see some heat, especially through the central U.S. We're going to see some good heat. I mean, 20, 30 above average. And then we're going to see a return to cold, like I've been talking about as we get into next weekend. Return to cold, maybe even down to the south. No crazy cold, but this is going to want to be associated potentially with some snow. This should be northern Midwest through portions of New England. I don't think we're going to really see that in the Mid-Atlantic. And then we'll see another brief warm-up, and then this is where things get interesting as we get out here towards the 4th and 5th. You see what starts to happen, and you start to see our heat wanting to collapse to the south, and really most of the central to northern tier of the U.S. wanting to get cool. And this is the time frame where we're starting to see a lot of action with severe weather potentially in our models. You can see potential snowstorm. Let me get back to the 18Z. You can see a potential pretty strong low pressure moving up there through the Midwest. Maybe something from Minneapolis. We'll have to wait and see. Big dip in cold air here. This is actually a pretty good trough out there for the east. And then potentially another storm following. This almost wants to act as a weak nor'easter. If this were to tilt and move up the coast, this could bring snow back down into the Mid-Atlantic. Baltimore, D.C., Virginia, we'll have to see. And another snowstorm potentially to follow through the Ohio Valley. There's a lot of action happening once we get towards the end of the first week of March and into the second week. So, but yeah, we are going to be in a little bit of a lull here. We're going to be in a little bit of a lull. It's going to be pretty dry. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this snow here as we move into the weekend. We're going to have some cold air and definitely some clipper action up here in the Northeast and through the Midwest. But I'm watching this. I think associated with one of these systems here is going to be a big severe weather outbreak in the South. I do. You can't have 3, low pressure systems moving through with this temperature gradient and not see some sort of severe weather outbreak in the Southeast or in the Ohio Valley. So we'll watch that. All right, let me get to chat. South Carolina is done with winter, I do believe. Possibly. Hard to tell. I'm not willing to say anyone in the South is done with winter based on what our models are showing us for the second week of March. It's just there's too much opportunity there for something to happen. We've seen major nor'easters and southern snowstorms in the second week of March before, even in the third week of March before. So I'm not going to say you guys are done because people have made that mistake before and regretted it. And we have an opportunity. We have a window here in the second or third week of March for something to happen. So we'll just keep watching it. One thing is for sure, our European ensemble showing a pretty positive AO, Arctic oscillation, is a sign that it's going to be tougher to get the coldest air down into the south. But, this model knows pretty well what it's doing till here. This is kind of la-la land model range, So not completely, but that can change drastically. EPO out here still wants to be negative, which again can bring some pretty cold weather to the southeast. GFS has that getting pretty negative as well. GFS, on the other hand, has our Arctic oscillation going negative out here. And, with this and a pretty negative EPO, we could see something a little bit farther south winter-wise in the second week. So not a ton of model agreement. Not a ton of model agreement with our teleconnections. Not as strong as we've seen throughout much of the season, which is why this is a little bit harder of an outlook to predict. But there's going to be some opportunities here. We see all these models see a very active trend. Last thing before I get to questions here, actually, I want to show you guys this. Let's just go to North America heights. This is what we're looking at here, and this is our latest. I like looking at this because I like the way it's. Let me get this back up here. This line kind of simplifies where your jet stream split is right there. That blue line. So let's look at. We'll look at our GFS first. Well, we'll look at our 12Z European. Here we go. This is when this is to start off the week while we're seeing pretty warm weather for much of the country. We've got some high, we call this high heights here, zonal flow. Just a pretty high pressure over the country, all right, forcing warm air down. Now, again, we're going to see cooler temperatures up here in the Northeast. You can see some of this troughing happening down here. And again, I like the way this map shows it because you can kind of see that most of the cool air is going to be north of this blue line. Just pretend that. And you're going to have warmer air down here. All right, because that's kind of the separation in your jet stream. Now, as we move into March 4th and 5th, this is very, very, very interesting. Notice something. 1, 2, 3. There's this kind of thing in the meteorological world, where a lot of times storms come in sets of 3. You get winter storms, severe weather events. They come in sets of 3. And this is a very interesting outlook. Not completely in La La Land, pretty far out there, though. This looks, I'm not surprised to see this. This type of pattern, especially with these storms entering out west, you could get one or even if just one of these systems. I mean, you're going to have 3 chances possibly to dig and really pull a lot of Gulf moisture and Gulf heat off here. One of these, I do think, is going to create a pretty big severe weather outbreak somewhere out here, maybe in Dixie Alley, actually, maybe even up towards the Ohio Valley. And I do believe one of these is going to bring a big winter storm out here. It's going to be harder for it to get down south if our Arctic Oscillation wants to stay positive, if our polar jet wants to stay to the north. It's going to be harder. But one of these is probably going to bring some blizzard-like conditions somewhere out here. So it's a pretty good setup. It's a line of storms. We may see this ridge hold as it moves off the coast. But just moving here, that's a very interesting setup. We can see 1, 2. We can see another dip here. And then what looks like potentially another one on the backside. So here's our latest GFS, 18Z, what this looks like on the GFS. Some agreement as we get out here. Here's our first trough, second, third, potentially. We'll see if this thing holds on. But we start seeing a stormy pattern as we get into that second week. Long Island is done with snow. Not like we got any anyways. You guys got snow this year. Yeah, I mean, inner New England did good. And down there in Virginia, Maryland did pretty good. But New York City to Philly stretch. New York City down to Philly over to Pittsburgh. Not a great year, but we have a couple chances here moving forward still. No meteorologist looks at this pattern we have as moving into the second and third week of March and says, oh, there's no chance for snow out here. There's plenty chances more with this pattern. So maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 2. But we're seeing sinking cold air back in March. So the opportunity's there. But you need the right setup. You need the right storm track is what's hard to get. We'll have another opportunity. We'll have moisture back moving up into the states, and we'll have the cold air where it needs to be. What's the storm track going to be is where it gets confusing. It's freaking beautiful in Grand Island, Nebraska now. After last week was negative 30. Yeah, temperatures have really warmed up, huh? I saw, and I don't know where it was. It might have been the plains of Colorado. Somewhere over here, there was a temperature swing of like negative 45 wind chill, and then now it's 50 degrees. Almost 100-degree wind chill, 100-degree swing in like 24 to 48 hours or something like that. Pretty wild. What's going on, Gina? Okay. All right, that is a hide. Beautiful spam. Good evening, troops. What's going on, Carolyn? Hey, from North Carolina. What's going on? Oh God, Kyle. Is Chicago going to get any snow action? There's a few chances here on our GFS 18Z. It's an 18Z run. We'll see what our 00Z does. This is pivotal weather. Pivotal weather. You have access to most of its features free. I pay for the paid version because I stream it and there's some things that I like. Jenny, what's going on? Ricky, Shadow. No, there was spam over on YouTube side. What's going on, gaming? What's going on, Fade? What is going on, Fade? How's it going, Nick? Hey, what about Colorado end of March? Yeah, end of March, I don't know what's going to happen. There's some good snowfall that looks like it wants to make its way into Colorado, potentially, to start March off, March 3rd through the 5th. There's model agreement on this system out here for the mountains. This would probably be high elevation snow. You're sitting kind of in a ridge here. This whole thing's a ridge, a weak ridge. But this would be heavy snowfall in the Colorado, Utah, and potentially Wyoming. So, and then there's some more behind it. So, that'll be nice. Help extend the ski season. Will snow in Nebraska be heavy this weekend? Or New England? Do you mean? Yeah, when you say any. What's going on, Nick? Shadow, I appreciate that. Let me. 1 second. We can go over New England. Here's what's projected. We can go over our snowfall totals really quickly up in the Northeast. Let's zoom in here. Let's just go into our Euro snowfall total projections. Let's go into Euro. Let's get into regions, Northeast. We can look at our snowfall Kuchera totals. So here is what is, here's what's being projected, 5 days out, 6 days out in the Euro. Snowfall for inner New England. These are all kind of clipper systems, so not bringing any heavy snowfall to anyone, but some okay snowfall. It's inner New England. The heavier stuff's going to come after this. We can look what the GFS wants to do long range to New England. I mean, look at this. For anyone who thinks that there's no possibility to get you guys, there's no possibility to get big snow back into DC, Baltimore, Long Island, stuff like that. We have global models that signal it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but the reason they're signaling it is because we have some teleconnection data that wants to put very cold air back up here again, and the models think we'll have the moisture available for it. So no, there's no one who can read this stuff who says, well, yeah, our winter's definitely done, because it's not. Hi is my name. I appreciate you. Shout out Shadow. Severe storms expected for Eastern Kentucky anytime soon? No. That's another thing. We've been having a lull. We're going to be in a little bit of a lull here. Severe weather looks like it may start cranking up as we get into, as we kick into March around the 4th to the 5th time frame. I'm looking at this storm that doesn't show a severe weather threat around March 4th and 5th. That doesn't show a severe weather threat right now, but we'll have to watch this and see if this is any more amplified. We could get a tail out down here, and we could get some severe weather to the southeast. So I'm watching that, and of course the system behind it. The Euro, obviously that. The Euro has some interesting looks for some potential severe weather during that time frame. You can see what the Euro does here. This would be around March 4th or 5th. See, it's much more aggressive than the GFS. The GFS has this thing skipping to the north. But until then, yeah, I mean, there's really no major severe weather event popping up on the map for us for quite a little. Yeah, I mean, for over a week, basically. We haven't had a lull in weather events like this in quite a while. Nice little break. What's going on, Marie? Any snow from Minneapolis? Yeah, I mean, you know, we have some signals. The GFS thinks you may get some good snow from this. The GFS thinks you have another chance for snow entering March. This would be a huge snowstorm for the Twin Cities. This would be like a foot or more. But we need to wait. There's nothing, again, guys, the forecast range, if we're talking 4 or 5 days out, it's pretty boring. It's pretty boring. We start to see activity, a lot of activity kick in around the March 4th, 5th timeframe because we start to see we start to see our jet stream sinking, and we start to get a lot more, our baroclinic line down here, a lot more warm, cold air interaction, a little bit farther south in the States, and that's when you get big storms to form. Big winter storms moving across the country, big severe outbreaks in the south. When your jet stream's sitting very far north and holding the coldest air all the way up here, you're not getting any really, this is cold, dry air. You want that to interact with the moist, warm air off the Gulf, off the Atlantic, sometimes even off the Pacific down here to get your big storms, and it's sitting up too high over the next week. But every model, every single global, all 5 really that we look at, has that changing. You can see what happens as we get into March 4th, 5th. Suddenly you start to see storms lining up. So listen, I want that time frame to come because I don't even know what to talk about. There's times where you just get lulls in the weather season. You know what I mean? Kendra, what's going on? You did get the flurries there just north of Atlanta the other day? Yeah, Kendra, no problem. Yeah, we can take a look at the polar vortex in a second. The calm before the storm, as I say, yeah, that's why I titled my video today. It does seem like it because we're going to be very calm for about a week, and then it looks like things are really going to crank up. Do I think that snow chances for the South are gone? No. Well, like I said, we've had major snowstorms in the South in the 2nd and 3rd week of March before, so you can't really count out southern snow until you get really into the 4th week of March into the 1st week of April, where they're super rare. If our Arctic oscillation follows more of what our GFS ensemble thinks, we do really have a chance for southern snow again. Our Euro ensemble really wants to hold our polar jet to the north. Our Arctic, our American and Canadian model want to loosen up that polar jet. And if those are correct, if either the American or Canadian are correct, we'll get some freezing air sinking down pretty far to the south again. So it's hard to tell which one of those is going to win out. Because it's not really, that event isn't happening until the 4th or 5th of March. You think I'll be able to go skiing in Scranton on Wednesday? Is there skiing in Scranton? Go up to Vermont. Ski resorts in Vermont are doing great. Celine, didn't the GFS see the polar vortex split again earlier today? I don't think so. Let's go to... Let's see. Let's go to Northern Hemisphere. What is going on up in the stratosphere, guys? This is our current look at our stratospheric polar vortex. Pretty good, pretty well organized. It's a little elongated, but pretty well organized. A big stratospheric heating event happening out over here. Moving forward, it's kind of getting itself back where it should be. Stretched. It's still, I mean, this is where it should be. This is a strong polar vortex here. We start to see it want to stretch again. I mean, this is interesting. Oh, wow, I haven't seen that. Now, this is why this would be something. This is why when we looked at our GFS teleconnection earlier, it had our AO going negative. Our European, I can almost guarantee you, doesn't see this happening. This would be a big deal for us. This would be a big deal for us in the South. This would potentially give us a chance for a southern snowstorm in March. I didn't even notice it, but this is far out on the GFS. So this is like at the end of the GFS run. So I'm not going to look too much into this. I would love for this to happen. This would give us big chance for snow in the southeast and mid-Atlantic. But end of the GFS run, I'm not going to really pay attention too much to this. I don't think the Euro does this. Look at the end of the Euro run. Well, that's the 18Z. Oh, our Euro starts to see it as well. That's interesting. You can see a pretty decent, tight, healthy polar vortex. It's unstretching, getting itself together. That's where it should be. That's how it should look. But look at the end of the Euro as well. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't looked at this yet. Look at that. This is another vortice wanting to form. Ooh. Interesting. The GFS has this sinking a little bit farther off to the west, which would be a big event for the states. A big cold winter weather event for the states in March. Okay. It's at the end of these runs, guys. So I don't want to put too much, stake into 300 plus hours. But that's it. That is interesting. That is very interesting, and that's something that I'll pay attention to, and I'll update you how that looks in our videos, or in my videos each day. That if the GFS were to be correct, which the odds of it aren't great, but if the GFS were to be correct, you could see a big winter storm. One of your big winter storms, blizzard type winter storms, second, third week of March. That dives pretty far south. So, but it's very far away. So, but that's a crazy look. Chappie, I appreciate you. I didn't see that. I didn't see, and the Euro 12Z sees it happening too, just a little bit different. Is winter over for Maryland? Free, did you just hear the whole conversation I had? I'm not even going to answer that. I just said, basically I said no. There's plenty of things that look like we could get more snowstorms in that region. So, we don't see a big surface warm-up event happening in March. We see a cool down happening in the second week of March again. Oh, you're good, Free. You're good. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, our stratospheric polar vortex is doing some crazy stuff in the second week of March again. But we are, for anyone who's just joined, we're going to be in a little bit of a lull. For anyone who's just joined, here's our weather moving forward. Some clippers up in the northeast, right? Some clippers up in the northeast, but look at the whole country as a whole, really. I mean, we're pretty dry. We got some clipper snow moving through here. We're not seeing any major low pressure systems moving through the country. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. This is pretty boring. Am I wrong? This is boring weather. Every single global model, though, as we get into the fourth and fifth time frame, sees a jet stream that wants to drop and a lot of action happening. Okay, a lot of dry and moist air interaction, a lot of warm, cold air interaction. So you maybe get 1, 2, 3, a bunch of winter storms. The GFS wants to pound snow all the way as far south as DC and Baltimore again, up the coast, far out. Not really going to believe that much. Wants to put snow through the Ohio Valley up into the northern plains. So, but we're going to be in a lull here. We're going to be in a warm up too. Again, just to show you guys our temperature anomalies here. Other than the northeast, most of the country, I mean, look at this heat up for a while. When you don't have any sort of temperature gradient, you're not going to see any big storms. Things start to change as we get into the fourth and fifth. Watch this. You see that big push of cold air into the states? This is going to look at that. This is going to cause a bunch of instability from the west coast to the east coast, and that's how you get major snowstorms. That's how you get major severe weather outbreaks. So, something to watch. But no, your winter's not done. Is Philly ever going to get any snow? Well, how much snow did Philly get this year? Like 8 inches or something, 9. Philly's continuing their 3-4 year snow drought. Well, listen, Baltimore and DC snapped their snow drought to the south of us. I think they hit their averages, 100-year averages, actually a little bit more. A bunch of the inner New England is having a fantastic snow year. Portions of Kentucky are having a very good snow year. There's look what happened with snow in Virginia Beach. Look what happened with snow in Florida Panhandle and southern Louisiana. There's a bunch of places that snapped major snow streaks. I mean, Charlotte hadn't seen. Charlotte barely got any snow, but they broke over 1,029-day streak without over 0.1 inches of snow or something like that. But they still basically didn't get anything. Philly's having it pretty rough. So is New York City, Long Island though. Yeah, Buzz. That's what I was talking about. I can't promise anyone snow if there's no snow in the forecastable range, which is, I would say, at least within 120 hours. 120 is rough forecasting. You want it within 96. But our outlook, I mean, you can see what's happening on the screen. Our outlook drop, all these models, all these globals drop our jet pretty far south and put below freezing air, well below freezing air, back into the mid-Atlantic with moisture moving up the coast again. So, yeah, there's going to be opportunities here. Second week of March is going to give Philly some good opportunities for snow. The mid-Atlantic, second week of March is going to give everyone good opportunities for snow out east. Not just Philly, I'm just saying. That's what's happening. I don't care about 3-inch storms. 3 is too small. I want to... yeah, don't we all? Yeah, I know. It snowed. I live 20 miles north of Philly. We had 5 different snowstorms or 6 different snowstorms this year, all of which dropped 1 to 3 inches, 1 to 2 inches, nothing major. They're pretty boring. From your lips to God's ears. Well, okay. Stop. I'm going to mute you, dude. It's getting annoying. I swear. Don't test me. I'll do it. Why is temp easier to forecast long range than precipitation? I will show you. Temperature is a macro event. Okay, so here, let's show you this. What we're looking at here is high pressures. What you're basically looking at here, these blue areas are going to be associated with low pressure systems, cooler air, and more moist air. And, well, not necessarily. You get the moisture along the boundary of the cold and the warm air, like here. So this is going to be associated with colder air, and this is going to be associated with warmer air, typically above average air. Look at how these are big events, right? Like this is, if we see this, look how slow, right, and how big, huge these are. We see if we see all of this, what we call high heights ridging moving into the U.S., it's not hard to see that this is going to, move in a pattern like this, right? That's like 4 days that I just did, and you barely see this ridge move. We know this is associated with above average temperatures. This is on a large scale. Very easy. What you're asking us to do with precipitation on a small scale is zoom in super close to see how these are interacting, because you get your moisture a lot of times along these boundaries of warm and cold and moist and dry air. And then you're asking us to say, how much lift is there going to be? How much convective availability is there going to be? How is the storm going to move along, and how strong are these winds going to be? Temperatures and dry and moist air this is happening on a large scale. So the models can move these on a large scale. Precipitation, because no one cares if I say it's going to snow in Kansas. They say where in Kansas? It's a big state. When you're forecasting, you have to go all the way down here, and someone in this city wants to know how much snow they're going to get. Well, look at this macro event now. Now we're getting really micro. And that storm that I was just showing you that could form, well, maybe it's only going to drop snow or rain through here, and it's going to move just to your north, or it's going to move just to your south. The smaller you get and the more micro you get, the harder it is to forecast. But forecasting temperature swings, you can zoom out on a large scale, and we can see how our jet stream wants to act. Does our jet stream want to dip? We're going to see colder temperatures. Do we see our jet stream lifting out here in the Pacific? Okay, well, that lift is going to continue to move east, and then we're going to get warmer conditions. It's so much easier to see because it's a larger event. Local forecasting is so difficult. Cold and warm air move in huge masses typically. Unlike your weather events, most of your weather events where you have like, oh, look, we've got snow, rain here, but how does this exactly move through? Like this, or like this? Any more for DC? It's possible. Again, I don't know what to tell you guys other than the second week of March, we see a lot of cool air sinking in the States and a jet stream diving south. So it's possible to get snow into these areas again. Yeah, exactly, Leanne. There's so many more moving parts to look at when it comes to precipitation. Well, first, starting with what type of precipitation is it going to be? Is it going to be ice, rain, hail? If one of your layers is freezing and another of your layers is above freezing, now you're suddenly having to deal with, is it going to be rain, sleet, ice? You have to look at your low level jet, your mid level jet, your upper level jet. How is this moisture going to interact with these different jet streams? Is there shear involved with the moisture? How much lift is going to be involved? they're extremely variable, low pressure systems, storm systems. Whereas your big moving pockets of warm and dry air, or warm and cold air, you're not going to see as big of changes. They happen over changes happen over larger periods of time. I was hoping snow first week in March, but it's going to be in the 70s next week. Oof. What's going on, Jen? What is going on, Jen B? Yeah, Leanne knows what she's talking about. Is Texas done with the cold? Yeah, I mean, we don't see any major cold outbreak in Texas right now in the foreseeable future. We're going to have, like I said, there's going to be a pretty decent amount of cold air sinking, probably around the 6th, 7th of March. How far south does that go? You can see it right there as I'm talking. That kind of dip in our jet, you can watch it happen. It's too far out to know how far that sinks. Right now, it looks like Texas is going to stay pretty warm. What's going on, Mama 3? What is going on? Sorry, I got to do another short stream today, guys. Just like I said, I'm squeezed for time. Is Missouri done with cold and snow? No one's done with cold and snow. No one's done with cold and snow because of a few factors, like I keep saying. We have great model consensus on, and our Climate Prediction Center is showing it as well, of some cool air pushing back down into the states, approaching the second week of March. We just went over what's happening with our stratospheric polar vortex. Big stretch here. Huge stretch here on the Euro, and an even bigger stretch on the GFS. And our teleconnection wants the AO to go negative. Now, if this were to happen, you could see a big southern snowstorm in the second, third week of March. This is at the end of our GFS run, though, so this could change tomorrow. I'm just letting you know, when you see a signal like this, you're like, okay, let's hold off and not tell people their winter's over. There's a reason there's been major nor'easters and major southern snowstorms in early to mid-March before, because you can still have these events take place. So by no means is anyone's winter done. The time frame, we're going to have a lull here. Like I've been talking about to anyone who just got in the stream. We're going to warm up. Much of the country is going to warm up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be a pretty big warm up. And we're going to see... we're not going to see any, I mean, the weather around the country is going to be boring. If you got a bunch of warm air, you don't have any cold, warm air interaction, it's going to be pretty boring. As we get out here towards March 4th, we start to see sinking air. And this is when, everything can break loose. And it's not just the GFS that sees this. It's every single global model. You want model consensus? Well, we have it. Here's our European. You see this big warm up with the Euro. This is going to be a pretty. I mean, we're talking a week of boring conditions. You get around the March 3rd, March 5th time frame, March 4th, March 5th time frame. Here we go. We've got sinking air, and that warm air is moving out. What happens here is anyone's guess. Canadian as well. Although the Canadian isn't going as far out, but the Canadian sees the sinking air happening at the same time. Out here west, some troughing moving in, pushing this warm air off. But in our immediate future, it's going to be pretty boring. Northeast is going to stay cold. You're going to get some clipper snow systems, and we'll see what happens from there. Wish I had some exciting news for you guys. What's going on, Matt? My time to shine is coming. That's right. Mezzo Matt's in the chat. Matt, sorry I haven't talked to you in a while. I've been busy. That's why I've been streaming like less than an hour a day. Matt, this weather's going to be really boring until about the 4th or 5th of March. Am I wrong? Let's get Matt on the phone. I got to get off soon, but I got to get Matt on the phone real quick. Special guest. Battle of the Seasons. That's right, Max.
Are you calling me as I'm listening?
You're on stream. You're on my stream. I was telling Chad how boring it's going to be for us over the next until about the 4th or 5th of March.
Yeah, I'm going to post like one video this week.
Yeah, guys.
I'm enjoying this relaxing week off before.
I know. I feel like I've said the same thing in my last 4 videos because nothing is happening. But it's going to. There's pretty good consensus moving into the end of the first week of March. We're going to see some action across the states.
I agree. Our MJO looks super, super impressive. I'm
Yeah.
really more concerned for April and May than anything. But the end of March, it's always those last 2 weeks of March that always do something wild. It's every single year. I kid you not.
Yeah. Yeah. Some crazy is going on up in the stratosphere at the end of the GFS and Euro
I
run.
did see that.
Did you see that at the end of the 12Z of the Euro and 18Z of the GFS?
I did.
If that were to happen, that would be crazy.
I agree. I do agree. So yeah, like I said, and enjoy your week off.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe this is the time for me not being able to stream as much, right? Because ain't nothing happening. All right, I'll talk to you a little bit later, Matt.
Sounds good, bud.
Peace. Yeah. Come on, like, guys, you know that meme of the stick figure that's like, do something. Wait, hold up. Guys. This is me. Oh, no. I don't want the sample text in there. Hold up. Guys, this is me. This is me looking at our outlook and forecast, right? This is literally me. Like, I'm trying to get views. Do something. My channel's collapsing. Atmosphere, climate. Do something. This is me. This is what's mentally going on in my head. Every morning I've woken up and I've looked at the thing. I'm like, please, something collapse. And I'm like, fuck, it's doing, climate's doing nothing. That's what's going on in my head. Also, I have monkeys with tambourines in my head most of the time as well. Anyways, that's what any weather person you follow right now, that they're all that meme. Like, just please help us. Climate is giving nothing. Exactly, Ricky. Connor's temperature corner. What the heck? Connor's temperature corner? Who is that? Who? Someone made a TikTok called Connor's temperature corner? Hold up. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Hold up. Wait. I can't even find you when I look you up. Go to channel. Who's this impersonator? Listen, that's not alliteration. You would have to say, like, Timmy's temperature, I don't know, something with the T. Okay. Connor's temperature corner. Yeah, let me start a channel where I only talk about temperatures exclusively. It's now called Connor's, but yeah, Connor's boring climate. What about Oklahoma this next week? You know, this week Oklahoma's going to be pretty boring. Next week, again, you know, GFS and Euro, we see moving into next week, we're talking about the 3rd, 4th, 5th of March. Some troughing that wants to move back down potentially into Pacific Northwest, into the West Coast. This can dig up, you know, if we get a good jet down here, we could see some moisture rising, some cold warm air interaction, some moist dry air interaction here. We could get one of those classic severe weather events. Right now, the way that these models are handling this time frame, the Euro likes a little bit steeper, a little bit more significant of an event. You have the GFS kind of moving, you know, kind of not really showing a major troughing event, kind of just zonal cold air, the jet streams collapsing to the south, but you're not seeing this dig. So we can look at how the GFS treats this. So let's look out towards next week. Here we go. You can see what, the GFS is like, all right, we'll have some cold air moving down to the south, but we're not going to, dig a low pressure system down towards the Gulf like the Euro is attempting to. You can see it at the end of the 18Z here. The Euro wants to kind of give kind of a classic digging trough here, which would have the ability to create a pretty decent system out ahead of it and maybe put some severe weather up through here. So this is something to watch. I was actually too far out. That was on the... I should have been here. Sorry. Here it is. There it is. Same thing. Yeah, guys, if you don't follow Mesomat, follow Mesomat. MESOMATT. Did I say MASO? MESOMATT. We're getting into spring, and he is your severe weather tornado live coverage guy. He will be covering everything. He's done 20-hour streams. He is great with live coverage on severe weather, and he will call things 20 minutes before the National Weather Service does. So if you don't follow him. It's boring now, but guys, we know spring's going to pop off. We're Enzo neutral, weak La Nina. These tornado seasons in this type of Enzo cycle pop off. It's not a will it, it's a when will it. Or it's not a will we see it happen, it's when will we see it happen. What's going on, Julie? Having fun. Butterfly, I appreciate you. Pittsburgh's no chances for spring. Again, I got to get off here. I got to get up really early again in the morning. But, just to sum it up, guys, we're going to warm up across the country for a while here. Okay, our jet stream is going to tuck in up to the north. Our jet stream is going to kind of start to sit up here. That's why we're going to still see some cold air moving into New England. We're going to see a big warm up for much of the country. We'll see some cold air still wanting to move into New England. As we push out towards the 4th and 5th of March, we see the Canadian Euro and GFS wanting to collapse some cooler air back down into the States. This is where things could get very, very, very interesting in the second week of March. The GFS likes the GFS likes a nor'easter, a Midwestern storm, and a Northern Plains storm. Big snowstorms. Are all those going to happen? Absolutely not. Could one of them happen? Maybe. Could two of them happen? Maybe. But until then, our weather is going to be pretty boring, which is fine, and it's going to heat up, and it's going to give people a lot of warmth, which is good. But the question I keep getting during this stream is winter over? Is Maryland going to see any more snow? Is Chicago going to see any more snow? I can't tell you for sure if you're going to, but I can tell you for 100% sure that you're going to have a chance. You're going to have the opportunity. We're going to get some more winter storms. There's too much consensus. We're going to have some sinking cold air, and we're going to see some winter storms move out east again. I can't tell you where they're going to be at because they're way out of forecasting range. The troughing event, where our jet stream wants to move to, that's not out of forecasting range because you can see that a little bit farther out. So, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit of I mean, I don't really know what to talk about over the next 4 or 5 days. Because really, we want to get about 4 or 5 days ahead here to really start seeing what's going to happen with these potential, storms that are going to be created from this cold warm air interaction as we get out towards the 4th and 5th. We need to get a little bit closer to nail down those details. So it's going to be a little bit boring. Enjoy the boring weather for a little bit. Enjoy the warm up that's going to be happening. Melt that dreadful snow. Yeah, and it's probably going to get even warmer than that, Julie. Let's see. Ooh. This wants to push heat up here. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Thursday. That's really close to getting some very warm air into Buffalo. It wants to stay just south. Maybe that moves a little bit farther north. It's very close. All right, guys. I'm going to go watch the new episode of White Lotus with my wife, and then I got to go to bed. I had a long day tomorrow. I'm going to obviously keep posting every day. I'll be back on stream tomorrow. Again, sorry I've been doing shorter streams. Life comes at you quick. Just been busy, but I'll get back to my normal schedule. I appreciate you guys all being in here. Appreciate any of the follows, any of the subs, any of the gifts. You guys just being in here. Love you all. #1 chat that there's ever been. Everyone have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. See you, Julie.